manager has now been sentenced to 37 months in prison after pleading guilty to tax evasion.
Prosecutors say Justin Ryan Schmidt concealed millions of dollars in income. He failed to report foreign bank accounts and provided false information while giving up his U.S. citizenship.
Joining us this morning is Assistant Special Agent in Charge Troy Caldron with the Texas Field Office for IRS Criminal Investigations. Troy, welcome to our show, and thank you for being with us.
Thank you.
I understand you're in town here for the sentencing in this particular case, but can you walk us through first what investigators say happened here and what ultimately led to the charges against Justin Schmidt?
Yes, so throughout this investigation, what we're able to discover is that Mr. Schmidt had evaded millions of dollars in income tax over the years and failed to report that money on his U.S. income tax returns. Ultimately here, through a set of databases that we have, we're able to discover that he received millions in excess of $7 million over a period of 3 years that did not get reported on his income tax returns. He lied about that and ultimately owed us $2.8 million in income tax as a result of it.
Yeah, I saw that he reported only making something like $5,000 a year at one point. How do you go about, you mentioned databases, but like walk us through, like is this just, you're looking at an Excel spreadsheet and saying like the numbers are not lining up here?
Sure, I mean, as you can imagine here, the IRS receives a lot of tax returns each year, right? And so we have access to that information, both what the individual files for themselves and also what employers may file or what third parties may file on behalf of somebody else. And so we have the ability to match that information up, right? Okay. And in this case, we're able to see these millions of dollars here that weren't reported. Further investigation into the matters found out a little bit more of some exciting different kinds of things. We found out that Mr. Schmidt had lived a lavish lifestyle, properties in Snowmass Village, Colorado, a ski resort town. We found out here ultimately that he had millions of dollars in foreign bank accounts that weren't reported to the IRS. We also found out that he had millions of dollars in properties and assets in the Cayman Islands.
Mm-hmm. And Troy, if you don't mind talking about why this is important to be able to get justice in this type of case.
Yeah, I think it's in Judge Pittman, who sentenced Mr. Schmidt here yesterday, I think he probably said it best. Some may look at this as a victimless crime. It's just the big United States government that this affects. There's really not a victim in this, right? But when you look at it here, the honest paying taxpayers like you and I, who work every day and pay our taxes so that we can have the roads and highways and things like that that be able to live in this wonderful country that we have, right? We're the ones that are affected by it. While we pay what we owe, we have someone here who has almost $3 million of income tax that should have been paid over that was never paid.
It does feel like every now and then you hear about a case like this, and when you hear about it, it's often like on the news, like there's reporting because it's a big deal. I guess I'm curious, how often does stuff like this happen? Is it every year in major cities there are multiple cases like this, or is this pretty rare that you have someone so brazen?
Yeah, no, it happens quite often. We actually have right now about 2,000 special agents within the IRS. We're a small arm of the IRS. Criminal investigation is different when people refer to the civil IRS. They typically think of revenue agents. But we have about 2,000 special agents in the country that work on these very types of cases. And each in several times a year, depending on the city you're in, you'll have somebody who pleads guilty or is sentenced regarding these types of crimes.
And Troy, in these last few minutes that we have with you, how does the IRS balance going after intentional tax evasion while helping people who might make a simple mistake on filing their taxes?
Yeah, that's a good question. Here, ultimately, you look at the Schmidt case here, right? Ultimately, you look at the lies and deceit that he did through this time. He lied about his income. He lied about the foreign bank accounts that he had, right? One of the things that he did was he actually lied about the property that he had in Colorado. He sold that property, and when he did, Mr. Schmidt renounced his U.S. citizenship previously. After he renounced his U.S. citizenship, he sold this property and then wanted to take a credit that a U.S. citizen would get where they would not have to pay the tax, as opposed to paying a 15% tax on that for a foreign individual. And so that's one of the things. It was lying. It was the lying and the deceits that he did throughout this case that sets it apart from a normal audit type case.
We have a ways to go before tax season, but as people hear about this and think like, oh man, I hope that like I'm up to speed with where I should be with my taxes. Do you have just some simple advice for people on how to make sure that they don't mess up on their taxes? Yeah.
I mean, if you have a return preparer that you're working with, make sure that you review the return with that preparer and make sure that you provide them with all the documents that you have. And understand that ultimately you are held responsible for what's on your tax return. So review that well.
All right, good advice to wrap up our conversation with. But again, Special Agent in Charge Troy Caldron with the Texas Field Office for IRS Criminal Investigation. Thank you again for coming in and talking about this. We appreciate it.